Yo, 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 what up, it's your boy RONFLIPDAJUMPMANMOVIES, and I'm back with another Jumpman reaction video to the movie Black Phone 2. Now, if you've seen Black Phone 1, then you already know what's the foundation of the movie. The Black Phone was a phone where people on the other side can give a call to somebody on the physical side. And they even showed them doing it using a CB too. I said this shit a long time ago. Our ancestors probably can communicate with us within those ways. Pay phones that have been down for so long, and CBs, because tapping into a frequency. Everything is about energy, vibration, and frequencies. You know what I'm saying? But they can get in contact with us in many different ways. Meditation, angel numbers, symbolism, and different kinds of signs. It ain't always got to be a direct conversation in the language that you're used to speaking. So, off the gate, Black Phone 2, you know what I'm saying? They showed this book called Spiritual Dimensions. So this movie was about spiritual dimensions. They even put the tarot cards in there. They even talked a lot about dreams. And throughout the whole movie, they kept on saying, our dreams are just not dreams. I tell my kids that shit all the time. Me and my soul tribe, we talk about that shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? Me and my BFF, we literally were just talking about this shit the other day. Our dreams are just not dreams. Because we are multi-dimensional beings. We are having other experiences in other dimensions. So, Black Phone 2 was basically about the daughter of an unalive mother, sister of a brother, Flynn, who got kidnapped by this grabber guy in the first video, in the first movie. But Flynn, if you remember Black Phone 1, how he escaped, how he got away, it was because the unalive children that the grabber had previously had unalive, they was communicating with him from the phone. This phone down in the basement that didn't even fucking work, but it rang. You know what I'm saying? They tapped into that frequency so they can call him. They tell him how to get out of that basement alive. And what he ended up doing, he ended up unaliving the guy that was kidnapping the children. That was a quick recap of Black Phone 1. But I took notes too. So Gwen, his little sister, she kept sleepwalking back to the place her brother was being held hostage at in the first movie, locked in the room with the black phone. Obviously, she did it more than once because they only showed it once in the movie, but when she sleepwalked there, he said he followed her there, and he was like, you did it again. Like I said, the black phone was access to other dimensions, to talk to other people that's on the other side that's parallel to this physical side. Gwen says she can talk directly to Jesus, which is most likely, you know, for all y'all, you know, religion people, it's a entity that's feeding, harvesting off of your fear and your ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Of being bounded, because that's what religion means. You're bound to be locked in on that information unless you wake the fuck up. That's on another note. So, something bad happened to the kids, you know what I'm saying? And they'll call the phone trying to get someone to find their unalive bodies so they can continue to rest. They can't rest, and and they're gonna keep reaching out for help on the physical realm because they want their bodies to be found. You know what I'm saying? They want their parents and their families to have some type of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Closure. To, you know what I'm saying? Like their child been missing all this time and nobody was ever found. Like, so these unalive children would keep contacting Gwen through her dreams and through the phone, and her brother Finn through the phone. But the grabber guy, now he's on the other side because he got unalived by Finn in Black Phone 1. So his job is to make sure no one find these bodies. You know what I'm saying? So he could actually do things to people in the physical. So like if me and you standing right beside each other and I'm looking at you getting dragged, picked up in the air, thrown, and ain't nobody else around you doing it, you know what I'm saying? A religious person would be like, oh, you got the devil in you. You know what I'm saying? No, this is some entity that's able to cross both without having a physical, but can move your ass around. Like some exorcist shit. You know what I'm saying? When you see shit flying all through the rooms and, you know, shit like that, but actually tossing the body around. You know, it's been real videos of this, of people like just in their bed sleep and like the covers are left or whatever, and the leg or whatever, they'll get just dragged off the bed, ain't nobody there type shit. But see, they feed off of y'all that live in fear, that don't know self. But see, once you know self and you don't live in fear, and you understand and overstand your reality, these motherfuckers can't really fuck with you like that. You know what I'm saying? So things had started at the Alpine Lake, a youth camp in the mountains in Colorado. This is where the grabber started. He used to work there as I think some type of like utility man. So this is where he first started grabbing kids and unaliving them and putting them in these barrels and putting them at the bottom of the lake, which was a frozen lake. So, like I said, the unalived kids would show Gwen things that happened to her in the past. Now, at one point in time, when she went to sleep and she was on the other side, the grabber told her, the least I could do is give you the truth of what really happened. Because her and her brother and her dad, they always thought that their mom unalived herself. When in actuality, she was unalived by the grabber guy, the same guy that kidnapped and held her son hostage. But they all thought that she hung herself. She didn't hang herself. The grabber did it. You know what I'm saying? He hung her in her house, but set it up to make it look like she goddamn hung herself. Because what happened was, she was led to a house in her dreams, and she seen one of the first kids that he had kidnapped in the basement under the bed. In the basement laying in the bed. And so when she was trying to find a way to get in the house, that's when the grabber grabbed her. So most of Gwen, her dreams were things shown in the past, things that happened in the past. That's what most of her dreams was about. So, like I said, the grabber, he was a kid serial unaliver at the youth camp. The grabber got Finn back in the day. Black Phone 1 movie. One of the children kept showing Gwen in her dreams him floating up to the backside of the ice. Like if you walking on the ice, you can look down. But his body was kept floating up to the ice, writing initials in the ice. Multiple dreams. it'd be a different initial. It wasn't all the initials in one. It would just be every dream she would get another clue, basically. And after a certain amount of dreams, it was WBH. WBH means wild boy, hiccup, something like that. Hiccup. That was the grabber name. That was his nickname at the camps. So, like I said, it was Wild Bill Hiccup, WBH. That's how they started putting two and two together. Who was the person that was responsible for these other 3 kids missing at this U camp? You know what I'm saying? Now, Finn, he would find his sister and others. They, like I said, they gotta find and others. Finn and his sisters and others, they're on this mission to find the rest of these unalive children. Because once they find these unalive children, the grabber loses his power in that dimension. Basically crossing dimensions, being able to harm them while they're in the physical, but basically in their sleep. So it would be times when Gwen went to sleep and the grabber was fighting her on the other side, and he'll cut her with an axe or something. She would actually bleed. Or you will see marks on her arm from when he was like grabbing her, like his fingerprints would show in the real physical realm what she was going through on the other side. Should be real now. But like I said, it can feed off of those who are living in fear, who don't know self, and is living on a low vibration. If you're emitting to their frequency, they can fuck with you. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Raise your vibration, raise your frequency. So now Finn and his sister, you know what I'm saying, they can't rest until they find other bodies. It was a mission. So when Gwen realized she can come and go to the other realms willingly, like when melanated, copper tone, 9 ether beings, light beings, understand, overstand how we can go in and out of the physical to the other realms with our ancestors. This is when Gwen realized this, she started to take her power back within her dreams. She stopped running from this so-called devil, because he was masked up like the devil, but he wasn't the devil. He was just wild Bill Hiccup, wild boy Bill, whatever. Wild Bill Hiccup. So when she realized that she could take her powers back within the dream, she fought back on the physical, and helped her family and friends fight back on the physical while she was still in the dream fighting, you know what I'm saying, helping her brother fight from the other side. And they said it multiple times in the movies, our dreams just ain't dreams. I already said that, so I'm going to say it again. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that they're trying to hint, hell isn't flame, it's ice. Let that one sink in. So, like I said, this movie showed how their mom got unalive. Like I said, they thought she committed suicide, but it was actually the grabber. He found her, you know what I'm saying? When he took his first child, hid in the basement, she found it, and he had to do what he had to do to her so it won't be found. So, you know, the more that he hid bodies, it gave him more power. But this is just symbolism, indirectly talking about melanated beings, neuromelanated beings, how we're able to tap into these other dimensions and other realms and stuff like that. We don't have to be unalive to tap into these different dimensions. You know what I'm saying? Once you know self and you done raise your frequency, we can travel back and forth to these things. We can have guided and aided help with shamans and stuff like that, with plant medicines like ayahuasca and shrooms and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like these, they showed you in Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? When he took the plane, when he wanted to go talk to his ancestors, they showed you in the Black Panther movie. They showed you right there. But yeah, man, this joint was a dope movie. It was like that. I'm definitely giving this joint 5 popcorns. Peace. I'm out. Wadu. Yeah, man.